Hey everybody, Mature Simmer here. So, welcome back to our VFR series as we head around the world. Gonna get, again, our plane moving along here. Get the radios going. Pitot heat. Everything else. Fuel. Auto selectors. Get the air set. All right. Hopefully get everything running here. Get our propellers up. Get this going. Start things. Again, we're waiting for 1.5. Get ourselves to low. That'll move things here. Again, hopefully we don't go too much further. We're going down. And then get ourselves to 50. Get ourselves to high. Trim set. Flaps down. All right, and then our normal import the flight plan. So this time we've got something a bit different potentially in that we have interesting that this is still not, because we didn't turn anything on. All right, nav strobe taxi. Turn the ignition off. Starter off. Should be good there. All right. Get on GPS. Head over to terrain. Go out to about 50 miles. We are at 2,500. So we're going to want to basically set ourselves to say 4,500. And then get ourselves there. And we should be good. So flight director nav. So we've got a little bit of normalcy returning. But let's, show where we're headed, because the first time we've had something other than a straight line to share. So we're down here. We're heading up, going up Lake Malawi, and then landing here in Mbeya. It won't come up in Navigraph, so I figured out a way to actually get it to show up, which, keep learning new things about flight sim all the time. But we've got a total of 583 nautical miles. Looks like we've got a few different kinds of planes hanging out here. So it looks like SayIntentions is telling me to get to tower. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Chilumba Tower, November 191, Mike Alpha, requesting VFR at 4,500 to Mbeya. So
November
hopefully...
1 Mike Alpha. On departure, maintain VFR at or below 4,500. Departure on 124.9er. Squawk 6143. Expect runway 28.
Maintain VFR at or below 4,500. Departure 124.9er, squawk 6143. Expect runway 28. November 191, Mike Alpha. All right, so let's
November 1 Mike Alpha, read back correct.
see where we sit here. Make sure our landing rate monitor is connected. It is. All right, whoops. That's not what I wanted. I was trying to zoom in on Navigraph so that I can see the runway. All right, 28, so we're gonna need to go out and then over and, all right. Sounds good. All right, so basically, really probably only one actual waypoint, but I've got stuff programmed in so that we should be in pretty good shape. Just want to make sure now that we've got, yeah, Sarah's our tour guide. Everything's good there. Obviously, it reported November 19 Mike Alpha, so we're going to release the parking brakes, and we are going to head on out here. And in theory, whoops. I think there it is. Okay, I'm like, we should have something that gets us where we need. Not sure I'm set. Whoop. We are flying along here. So let's back off the throttle a bit. So this is already the runway.
Approaching runway 28.
Just gonna want to turn, head on down. And 28 is down at the end. I mean, in theory, we could probably just take off here. It's a pretty long runway, I think. But, well, we'll go down and get at least closer to the end and then turn ourselves around. But crossing runway 33, didn't say anything about having to call in for that. So we're going to assume all is good. So there's really in the narrative only one point, the first waypoint that is talked about, but we've got a ways to go. I think I already shared it's about 583 miles of flying. So even though, again, the Fly Studio bar is showing you, you know, that we've got 415 miles, as is typical on this series, we are looking for things. We are VFR flying, and so we've got to go less of a roundabout way and add about 150 miles, a little more than that, to our location.
7,400 feet.
All right, so 60. Let's see, we're just barely back to the runway, and we're basically at the point where we can rotate and go. So, getting ourselves set here.
Approaching runway 28.
So, get ourselves on departure. We're going to arm. And we're going to do that. We should hopefully be solid. Get the wheels up. Get the flaps up. And we should start to accelerate nicely.
Runway 33. Caution, caution.
Caution what? Alright, anyway. So we're getting up. Departure, November 191, Mike Alpha with you. Alright, so they've got us. We should be okay. Now we have 200 some miles, so it's possible Sarah won't be able to do anything. Morning, Sarah. Could you please go ahead and load up Fwcl-Htmb Around the World Leg 54 tour?
Good morning. I couldn't find any tours nearby for this leg, but I'm ready to keep an eye out for anything interesting as we fly along.
All right, so we're going to need to get closer. That's normal when we're that far away. So I'll try it a few times. If you're new to the series, thank you for joining. I try to do these once a week, usually put them out on Saturday mornings. And we're just progressing along through a flight plan that has over 220 legs, and we're on leg 54. We've started in the U.S., gone across the Atlantic, did some things in Europe, a little bit in Russia, touched a few things here and there, obviously handled Scandinavia, all that, and then we've come down through and around the west coast of Africa. We've come up through South Africa, and we're now heading up north again. I'm assuming getting back toward the Middle East and Asia, and likely to be heading in there. We've had a lot of legs that have been point-to-point. Unfortunately, in Flight Sim and maybe in real life, there's just not a lot of points of interest or things to go look for here. So the creator of this set of flight plans, gives us a little bit of information, but for the most part, for a while, it's been kind of dull. We're hoping shortly to change that and get back into some active areas. So right now, as I said, 483 nautical miles. We're going Malawi is where we took off. We're going Malawi, Mozambique, Zambia, and Tanzania is what will be our final destination in Mbeya, which we'll learn about when we get closer. So short narrative this time. Take off and head northwest across the tip of Mozambique into Zambia. So I'm assuming, other than just touching it and saying, hey, we've gone through this country and at least explored a piece of it, there's really not anything that's happening there. But the Luangwa River, just northeast of Kakumbi, where we'll find our first African wildlife in the form of hippos. Now, we'll see what we decide to do around there. I don't know that we're going to be able to, or it'll be something that I'll be able to focus on and get lower and see if we see them. And again, the problem is we're flying high and, trying to make some progress too. So there is a bit of that. So we'll take a look. We don't know we'll see the hippos, but that's our waypoint, is I think it's some sort of wildlife park in that area. I think that's what Kakumbi is. And so that is the waypoint name I put in. So hopefully that will prompt Sarah when we get closer. I'm going to try, maybe once we get under 200, to try to call her up again and maybe do it every 50 miles. Start to see where and how close we need to be before she goes ahead and actually will load up the tour. But in the meantime, this is the view we're going to get. You're going to take a look. Let's see. Well, we do have some red. So I'm going to, assume that we need to, go up at least 500. We're also going to get ourselves into, or 1,000, I should say, 5,500. Woo! We don't want to red line and go over and do engine damage. So we're going ahead and getting ourselves on the TBM mode, which gives us some added airspeed. What we want to see is this starting to drop away, but then basically we let you look out the window, enjoy things. Sarah will randomly make comments if she's not in with the tour loaded. That's kind of what we've had for a while. All right, good news is Red is going away, so I think we'll be good there, and I'll just have to check that periodically. But I'm going to go ahead and mute myself now and let you enjoy the next couple 100 miles, and hopefully we get Sarah engaged. Nice moon up there in the sky, and I will see you in a bit.
November 1 Mike Alpha. You're leaving the Charlie airspace. Remain outside the Charlie. Squawk VFR. Frequency change approved.
The closest notable spot to us right now is Ulongwe Airport, which is a small airstrip serving the rural community of Ulongwe in Mozambique. While it might not look like much from above, these rural airstrips are lifelines for the communities they serve, connecting remote villages to larger cities for supplies, medical transport, and even the occasional adventurous pilot. Ulongwe itself is surrounded by agricultural land, with fields stretching out in every direction, so if you spot any patchwork patterns below, that's the handiwork of local farmers. These kinds of airstrips are also popular with bush pilots who love the challenge of landing on shorter, less developed runways.
Sarah, please go ahead and load VFR TBM Around the World Leg 54 tour.
I couldn't find any tours nearby for this leg, but I'm ready to keep an eye out for anything interesting as we fly along.
Sarah, please go ahead and load tour number 1838.
I couldn't find any tours nearby for this location.
Center, November 86 Foxtrot with you, flight level 170, climbing flight level 200.
November 86 Foxtrot, roger. November 86 Foxtrot, continue climb to flight level 240.
Leaving flight level 220 for flight level 240, November 86 Foxtrot.
Sarah, could you please go ahead and load tour ID 1838?
I couldn't find any tours nearby for this location.
Sarah, please load TBM tour ID 1838.
I couldn't find any tours nearby for this location.
Sarah, please load VFR TBM around the world, leg 54 tour.
I couldn't find any tours nearby for this location. Since there are no major points of interest right now, let me tell you about the closest city, Lilongwe, the capital of Malawi. Lilongwe became the capital in 1975, taking over from Zomba, and it's grown rapidly since then. The city is split by the Lilongwe River, with the old town on one side and the more modern capital city area on the other. From the air, you might spot the patchwork of government buildings, markets, and green spaces.
Sarah, would you please load Fwcl-Htmb Around the World Leg 54 tour?
I couldn't find any tours nearby for this location.
Wow, I am surprised. We're within 100 miles. You would think that it would be pretty good.
Since there aren't any major points of interest right now, let me tell you about Mchinji, the closest town to us. Mchinji is a small but important border town in Malawi, right near the frontier with Zambia. It's a key crossing point for travelers and goods moving between the two countries. The town grew up around the railway that connects Malawi to Zambia, which was completed in the 1970s. If you look down, you might spot the patchwork of fields and the railway line snaking through the landscape. Mchinji is also known for its weekly market, where people from both countries come together to trade everything from fresh produce to handmade crafts.
Sarah, please load Fwcl-Htmb Around the World Leg 54 tour.
I couldn't find any tours nearby for this location.
Sarah, please load VFR TBM Around the World, Leg 54 tour.
All right, we're all set. The first stop on our VFR TBM Around the World, Leg 54 tour is Kakumbi, which is about 83 kilometers away. Let's get ready to enjoy the journey.
All right, so perhaps it's 50-ish miles that we need to be within the waypoint. I don't know. If you've been following the flight, first off, thank you for just joining along. We got pretty close to the ground a couple times, but also tried relatively regularly, and she kept saying there's no tours nearby, there's no tours nearby. Got to the point I was like checking my waypoints to make sure that, because, you know, the latitude, I think, is negative. Maybe it's on, I forget which one's north-south, but the first one, the south number, is a negative number at this point when we enter them, and I'm pretty sure I was doing that, but it just was a challenge. Anyway, got about 40 miles, and we'll see what we can see. Let's take a look. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to lower myself, because again, this is where we're going to have the hippos, and we don't have that much time to get down there, so I'm going to see what we can do here, and then if we've got to climb back up later, that's fine. But if we can get a little closer to the ground, that would also be a good thing. Things are starting to bloom on the terrain. I also felt that the terrain wasn't being super accurate, because, frankly, we were nearly hitting the ground, and it looked black around us on the images. Now, again, we are zoomed out 50 miles, so maybe one little mountain is just going to be like a dot that's rising out of there, one hill or something like that. But, all right, we should be okay to get past this, because, yeah, it looks kind of flattish or lower out here. Let me see. Let me go down to 2,500 and see. See if that's gonna change anything. All right, because we're within about 1,000. I mean, I have no problem flying pretty low, especially where we don't have a lot of terrain around us. But obviously we want to be careful. Alright, let's just put it right about there. Alright, we're going to do that, and... Whoops. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, let's not crash into the ground here. That would be bad. Alright, let's get to 3,000. And that should hopefully, there we go, we're getting some green. It should start blooming up, because we just need a few hundred feet, I think. I'm worried the red is, well, that's 50 miles, so no, I think we'll be good. So I think, yeah, where it's green is, you know, going to be potentially where we have the hippos. I just don't know that we're honestly going to be able to see anything going by. So it'll be interesting to see for sure. But about 25 miles to go. And then we'll be turning, and, you know, we will have to rise up again. Let's just take a quick peek here. Nothing crazy over there, so... Alright. So I might slow down, because, yeah, the wildlife is certainly a unique thing. We're not going to get that in a lot of places. So it might be worth slowing down a little bit. And seeing what we can do. But it's going to be a few minutes, so I'll just quiet down for now. See you in a little bit. Alright, so we're going to go ahead. I've taken off the TBM flaps mode, which will basically slow us down, 20 or 30 knots. I might actually, let's see, let's just generally slow down. We've still got 8 miles, so we'll have a little bit, but we'll get below 200. This should still keep us flying pretty well. I mean, the problem is hippos are going to need some water, and this is a sharp turn. It's over 90 degrees, so it's like, are we going to be able to see anything? I really don't know. So it's going to be interesting. But 6. So yeah, the border is again 4 miles. So it's going to be a little bit before. I mean, there might be some water here, but that's usually 3 or 4 miles away. I'm thinking this is all going to be for naught, but I don't know. Alright, I'm really gonna kind of go low and slow, I suppose. You know, I want to stay above 120, but if we can slow down a little bit, that'll work. I mean, there's definitely water there. I just don't know that we're going to get close enough to it to be able to see.
At 12 o'clock, just 6 kilometers ahead, is Kakumbi. This small settlement is nestled right on the edge of South Luangwa National Park, which is one of Zambia's greatest wildlife sanctuaries. Kakumbi is known as the gateway for many safari goers, and the area is famous for its walking safaris, a concept actually pioneered here in the 1950s by Norman Carr.
Alright,
If
we
you look
still have
closely,
2
you
miles,
might
so
spot the Luangwa River winding its way through the landscape, attracting elephants, hippos, and the occasional daredevil crocodile who thinks he's auditioning for a nature documentary. The airstrip here is a lifeline for the region, bringing in tourists, supplies, and occasionally, the odd chicken or two that's escaped its crate. Legend has it, some of the local guides can spot a leopard in a tree faster than you can say binoculars. Our next stop is Lake Malawi. To get there, we'll need to fly 266 kilometers on a heading of 060.
alright, so just seeing land, I don't know. 1.3 miles. I mean, obviously the hippos will be in the river. I'm assuming he saw them when he came by and looked, but not sure we're gonna see much of anything. I'm looking. It's water. Yeah, because in theory, it's you know, they've got wildlife in there, but I just don't know at 145 kilometers an hour or whatever, or you know, 145 knots that you're really gonna catch anything. But yeah, I'm not seeing anything. And again, they may be random, just like real animal. I mean, there's maybe some stuff there. I don't know. You know, because those could... No, that's just a bush, but I don't know. So anyway, we are there. At this point, we're going to want to increase our height at least 1,000. So we're going to go back up here to the flaps. And whoops, I can't go all the way up because that could be bad. So let's see. Let's just get ourselves close. So yeah, we've increased our speed 50 knots already. Now we'll go up a little bit. And we'll just see how things work. But as you heard, Lake Malawi is next. So in the narrative, turn northeast until you get to the shore of Lake Malawi, and then follow it north into Tanzania and Mbeya Airport. Your approach will take you past Lake Ngozi, a huge crater lake surrounded by dense forest rich in birdlife. That is the full narrative. That is what we have. So about 160 miles. Obviously, you know, I'll keep up on things, make sure we're in good shape. You know, obviously I'd like to not have red around. So we'll see if this backs off or if I need to go a little bit higher. In theory, we're supposed to fly at something 500. So if 3,500 doesn't work, we might need to try 4,500. But I'm hoping that we can do something a little bit less. I'll see you in a bit.
At our 8 o'clock, just 6 kilometers away, is Lake Malawi. This is Africa's 3rd largest and the world's 9th largest lake, stretching over 580 kilometers from north to south. It was discovered by the Scottish explorer David Livingstone in 1859, though locals have been fishing its waters for centuries. So sorry, David, you were a bit late to the party. The lake is famous for its crystal clear waters and more species of fish than any other lake on Earth, especially the colorful cichlids that are a favorite among aquarium enthusiasts. If you squint, you might even spot fishermen in their dugout canoes, practicing techniques passed down through generations. And let's not forget the legendary Lake Malawi mermaid tales. Locals say she's out there, so keep your eyes peeled for any mysterious splashes. Our next stop is Chilumba.
All right, so some interesting stuff. We've got 79 miles to go up the lake shore. That will basically get us, I picked a town that was nearby. So, so that's Chilumba there. But 79 miles, and then we're basically heading to the airport, which is about another 100 miles away. So we've still got a little bit of flight ahead of us. But at this point, we're basically kind of going up the lake shore for the most part. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so we're coming up on the town. Town itself is actually over here, but you can see there's obviously, you know, it looks like settled areas pretty regularly. I mean, obviously this is along the lake and so forth, so I would assume this is pretty good property. You know, it might be pretty fertile. It might, you know, have good moisture content, so hard to tell if they're really farms per se, you know, but small enough to go ahead and do things. But yeah, the town is, we've kind of gone past it, and we're basically going toward the shore, and then we'll turn a little bit to the left. 337 will be our heading at that point. So basically about 20 degrees. And, you know, that will be the final leg. And as I said, I think it's 97 nautical miles. It gets us past the tip of Lake Malawi and up into the land a little bit. I think, you know, 50, 60 miles up, we'll be done with the lake.
At our 10 o'clock, about 6 kilometers out, is Chilumba. This lakeside town sits right on the western shore of Lake Malawi and is famous for its ferry port. The MV Ilala, a legendary steamer that's been chugging up and down Lake Malawi since 1951, regularly stops here. Imagine the stories that old ship could tell. Chilumba is also known for its beautiful beaches and the dramatic escarpment that rises just behind the town, making it a favorite spot for anyone who loves a good view or a dramatic selfie. During World War II, the British built a military post here, and you can still spot remnants if you look closely. There's even a local legend about a hidden treasure buried by retreating soldiers. So if you see anyone with a metal detector, now you know why. That brings us to the end of our tour. We've soared over Kakumbi, marveled at the vastness of Lake Malawi, and wrapped up here in Chilumba.
All right, so we're now on our way. You can see we're already below 97 nautical miles. Like I said, we'll just keep an eye on things. We're probably going to have to rise up at some point. But let's see, can we see the end of the lake? A little bit, but yeah, we're getting really close at that point. I don't know that we'll stay in any kind of a valley area, but go up and down as needed. But I was obviously looking to be as low as I possibly could be as we got in there. Again, it looks like we're turning a little bit more to kind of align. So it might work, because once again, you got to keep in mind, although yeah, now that's red. So there's something in front of us, I'm sure, because there is another couple bodies of water that I assume will go near or by in our next leg that are north of this. Of course, I guess it depends which way it sends us, because we do have a good amount of land to our east now as well. We've really not gotten any closer to the ocean. But we'll fly here, and, you know, we'll see what the next leg looks like next week. But for now, we're heading to the airport. Again, there will be some crater lake surrounded by a dense forest that we're supposed to pass. So if I see that as we get closer, we'll go from there, and I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to jump in here a little bit earlier than normal. So as you can see, we've been climbing for a while. We were about 2,500 feet when we left the lake. We're now over 6,500, heading to 7,500. We might need to go a little further. I'm not sure. The peaks up here certainly are higher. I just don't know if we get by those before the village, or it's really more than a village. It's probably a sizable city. But yeah, so the lake, I think, is there. So it's a little ways off. Again, if we bring this up, you can see, you know, there's still things taller than us over here, for sure. On Navigraph, it just has a thing of list of volcanoes in Tanzania near a couple of the things, including near the lake there, which obviously, again, we've been told it's a crater lake. So obviously at some point, like, yeah, this appears taller, and so that's what I mean, like, the terrain thing isn't working well here. I don't understand why. But we're 15 miles, and it just does look like there may be some things beyond, because there's basically, like, a volcano that we just went by. But yeah, there's some things beyond where we're at, so I'm thinking the town or the city might be along this way. It's basically heads that way, east and west. So there is an actual airport, Songwe Hotel Tango Golf Whiskey, that is on the west side of the city. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pull up our landing monitor. We'll get over the ridge. But yeah, so I think the lake's honestly, like, over there. I don't know that we're going to be able to get a good view of it. But I think it's sitting in that bowl there. So as it said, kind of surrounded by dense woodland. So in theory, we're okay. We may have to pull up a little bit. I mean, you can see we're yellow, so we should be at least 1,000 feet below here. So I don't want to climb and then go right back down. But yeah, so the lake is, like, in there. I don't know if we're going to get any kind of a glimpse through here. And it could be a good ways down, so yeah, doesn't look like it's going to happen. We are going to clear here. And it's 500 to 1,000, so I guess it shouldn't get within 500. And once again, I'm thinking we're kind of close there. I'm going to zoom out here. So what we want to do now, again, is do this, get to heading, get ourselves there. I don't think I turned off the 850. No, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. But yeah, we need to start slowing down because we are definitely getting close here. And it's runway 31. So let's head out here. And it should give us a pretty clear view. Now we'll lower the flaps. But it's not a very long, oh, well, it's literally right there. So let's see if we can make it. Not sure that we can. So we might have to come back around. We'll turn everything off here. Where is this thing? Okay, well, I've totally lost the runway now. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we did okay. It was not the best approach in the world, but should be fine. We're down to 90. So that's the benefit of a little plane. If we were like looking down on the runway from there, it'd be like, yeah, we're going way around. Because if you're going 200-300 knots, it's going to be a bigger deal. That is a weird thing moving across to the left there. I don't know if that's just really a big bus or what in theory we're seeing. All right, so let's try to get aligned, pull back, just let ourselves float out of the sky here. Come on. I guess we bounced. So not the smoothest, but it was all right. So we are down here, just trying to see what looks like anywhere to go. I guess we'll go over here next to the vehicle, because there's just not much around. Put our brakes on. Shut everything down. And we should be set, but yeah, you know, little airstrip. I guess I don't know that those are part of the airport. They might be. Is this car just going to go across the runway? Oh no, he's just going to go back and forth. Okay. So they're like ghost vehicles, because I'm like, there's kind of a road. But we're here. So again, in, I think it's Malawi, or no, Tanzania. That's right. And then we're going to be heading out after that for the next leg. I'm just taking a peek ahead. So yeah, we're going to be basically moving along some more, I guess, mountain lakes. Going to go through 3 countries. Next time, a little bit shorter, but still over 500 nautical miles is what we have to look forward to next week. If you have not liked or subscribed, really encourage you to do that. That's just really helpful and would be greatly appreciated. And I will see you next time.